these into the function or the equation. This should be a function for x. So here, I put 0 in for x. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. My output is 5. That gives me a coordinate pair. I go to the next one. I substitute in 1. 5, negative 2 times 1. 5 minus negative 2 is 3. That gives me the coordinate pair of 1, 3. I substitute in 2. Remember, order of operations. Multiplication comes before addition or subtraction. Negative 2 times 2 gives me negative 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. And that gives me 2, 1. And then we put in 3. Y equals 5. Negative 2 times 3. What's negative 2 times 3? Negative 6. What's 5 minus 6? Negative 1. So that gives me 3, negative 1. I can take all these points and I can graph them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I graph all of these points. This graph is a straight line when I connect the dots. Which means, is this function linear or nonlinear?
Linear.
This is a linear function. Good. So it's simple. You're taking inputs, putting them through the machine to get outputs. One more to go. One more. We have this?
Yep.
Okay, like I told you, still this is a pretty generic function. The only thing you have to be careful here is order of operations. Now here, we start going back to our old friends, exponents. Exponents, you just have to remember the rules. So if I substitute in negative 2, it's negative 2 squared minus 2. So negative 2 squared is basically negative 2 times negative 2, which gives me what? Positive 4. Positive 4 minus 2 is 2. So I put in negative 2, I get out 2. That's negative 2, 2. That's my first coordinate pair. Then I just repeat the process. You have to be careful when you're doing this. That's the only place you can really make mistakes. Negative 1 squared. 2 negatives, when we multiply and make a positive. So 1 minus 2 gives me negative 1. That's negative 1, negative 1. And you just repeat the process. I substitute in 0. What is 0 squared? 0. Minus 2 gives me negative 2. So this is 0, negative 2. I substitute in 1. What's 1 squared? 1. 1 squared minus 2 is negative 1. 1 squared is 1. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So that gives me 1, negative 1. Because, as you're going to see, this function is not going to be linear. How did I get negative 1 twice? Because when I square a number, it's always going to be positive. If I square a positive number, 2 positives make a positive. If I square a negative, 2 negatives make a positive. So really in both of these, I'm just subtracting 2 from 1, and I get negative 1 and negative 1. So when we graph this, let's go and graph this. 0, negative 2, and let's see, negative 2, 2, negative 2, 2, negative 1, negative 1, and this is what's known as a quadratic equation. So the graph of this is going to look like a parabola, which means it's going to go down and it's going to come back up like that. And then the question is here, is this a linear equation, yes or no?